Well, good afternoon, guys. As you know, there's been this little coronavirus thing is kicking everybody in the ass. So we don't have work. We're not going to be working at the school district for a while because of it. So uh, I just decided to come over to the ranch and well, take care of some stuff that I've had, just pushed off to the side because of work. So now that I got time, I'm going to go ahead and get this done. Got a little Ford Ranger that I'm going to be working on. Let me show you guys. This here's a different little Ford Ranger from the previous one. On this one, guys, rear seal on that differential is leaking, so I'm going to go ahead and take that wheel off and pull that axle shaft out so I can go ahead and replace that bearing and seal on it. Not sure about the bearing yet, but I bought it anyway. But seal has to go. It's gone. We have to replace that one. So let me go ahead and start stripping this one down. I'm going to go on time lapse while I remove the tire. And once I get to that little seal, I'll go ahead and slow it down so you guys can see it a little bit slower. And well, let's go ahead and take care of this one today. All right, guys. Well, guys, we had done the brakes a little while back, and that's how we found out that the seal was leaking. And you can see right there, it's all full of grease, and I mean, it's been leaking for a while. So we're gonna go ahead and remove that little differential cover, loosen up the lock, pull out this axle shaft, and we're gonna go ahead and replace that seal. There's no play on the bearing. I mean, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave the bearing there. I'm just gonna do the seal. We'll see when we get there, Chris. All right, let me go ahead and get started on this one. Well, guys, now all I gotta do is I already got transmission neutral, got the cover off. I gotta spin that drive shaft so I can see that little bolt for that pin, so I can remove that pin, push the axle shaft in, remove that little C-clip that holds it in place so I can pop that thing out. Let me go ahead and get that done, guys. I'll be with you guys in a bit. Well, guys, there's that little 5/16 little bolt. I think it's a 5/16, so I'll try it out. I can't really see it that well, but you got to remove this little bolt. This one right here. You got to pull it out so I can push that pin out. Get those spider gears out of the way so I can go ahead and push that shaft inward and then pull it back out. So let me go ahead and try and get that done real quick. I'm not going to Well, guys, there we remove that little 5/16 little bolt, push the little pin out, got the little spider gear out of the way, and got the C-clip off of the axle shaft. So let me go ahead and pull that axle shaft off so you can go ahead and get to that seal. Well, guys, we're back at the axle shaft. Let me go ahead and pull that shaft out. And sorry about the video quality, guys. I'm doing this one-handed. And there's the axle shaft. I'm gonna let it rest inside the bed of the truck. And well, there's our little seal, guys. Let me go ahead and pry that seal out. Go ahead and push that new seal on there and go ahead and put this truck back together. All right, let me get the tools ready and I'll be right with you guys. Again, guys, I couldn't get this recorded. I couldn't hold the phone and pry the seal off, but basically I got my seal puller and creates like a little fulcrum and it'll just pull that seal off from one side. There's an old seal. Let me go ahead and get this cleaned up so I can go ahead and install that new one. Well, guys, this is the replacement seal for this particular little Ranger. It's an 04, so I'm going to use this 1 5/8 socket to kind of hammer it in. And well, let's go ahead and get it on there, guys. Let me go ahead and get started. They're pretty simple, guys. You don't have to like really hammer them in. Just a tight little tap, it'll get them in there. And this particular seal, it's got like a little lip, kind of like if it were a rear transmission seal. It's kind of like an old dust cover, so it shouldn't hurt any. Let me go ahead and get that axle shaft back in place. And there we go, guys. Now we got to do is go back under the truck, get that little clip back on there, the little C-clip, push that spider gear back into place, get that pin back into place to hold the spider gears, get that little 5/16 little bolt back in there, and cover it all up. At the end, all we got to do is add I'm using 7590 synthetic axle grease on this, and so that's going to be our last thing to do. Front seal is kind of leaking on this one. Let me show you. There we go. But customer didn't ask for a front seal to be replaced. He only asked for the side axle shaft seal. So let me go ahead and get the underside. Oh, this one here, guys. We got to get this little gear back in place. Turn it so that we can kind of get the pin back in place. Pin. Oh, sorry. We got to get the C clip on there first. There. Push the shaft out, the axle shaft out, so we can go ahead and get this pin to go in there. There. Well, guys, we got that pin back in place and tightened. So now we got to clean up this little differential cover, get all that silicone off of it, add a bead of silicone on it so we can go ahead and install it. Guys, I apologize, I don't have a tripod with me, so I'm not going to record the cleaning of this, but I will try and get some of the installing it back onto the video. Well, guys, we got this cover cleaned, and I didn't have the RTV, the gray, so I used the black, which is going to work. So let me go ahead and get under this vehicle and get this thing back on there. Alright, let me go ahead and get everything ready, guys. Well, guys, as you can see, the actual differential itself has already been cleaned. So I'm going to go ahead and position that cover back on there and get a few bolts started, and I'll get back to recording in a bit. I got to use both hands, guys, so bear with me. Give me 1 second. Well, guys, I got the pan back on the differential. I started 3 bolts, so I'm going to go ahead and start up the rest, and then I'll get my little impact driver, get them somewhat tight, and then I'll go ahead and check them with I'll go over them again with a ratchet, because I don't know if the impact is going to be strong enough for this, but I'm pretty sure it is. But I'm going to double check with a ratchet, guys. So let me get this in time lapse. Alright, guys, so that's done. I'm going to go ahead and get the wheel and tire back on there,
the rear brake drum, tighten it up, and last thing I'm going to do is add gear oil to this differential. That should be it, guys. So let me go ahead and continue.
Well guys, I'll get those tightened up when I drop the vehicle back to the ground. And we're doing this one over here at the ranch, so we don't have a shop or nothing like that, so we're working on dirt, so we're doing the best that we can with what we got. So let me go ahead and continue. Well guys, it's gonna get a little messy, so I just want to show you what I was gonna do. This little plug right here has a 3/8 square on it. So basically you just use a ratchet, 3/8 ratchet with an extension to take this one off. Start pouring grease into this differential until the grease actually comes off. It's better if you do it on a level surface so that the oil will go on both sides of the axle tube. So let me go ahead and get that done. I am not going to be able to record this, but well, let me try. Well guys, like I said, 3/8 ratchet, no extension, sorry. And you remove that plug, and that's your oil fill. There's that. And let me bring that gear oil and start pumping it in, guys. Now that I'm not going to show you because it gets real. Well guys, I'm going to try and see if I can film some of this. Can't really see, but I'm adding grease to the differential, so I'm going to have to get a little dirty, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the not record this part. Well guys, I couldn't show you the filling of the differential, but we got it done. We tightened up these lugs on the wheel, so pretty much this little truck is all done. Let me go ahead and call the customer and let them know that the truck is finished so I can come pick it up. Alright guys, well, appreciate you guys watching. Like and subscribe guys.